Hi, it's Beth with your little bit of Beth for today. I'm going to do a little teaching segment with you on something that I find so important for people to be aware of. And I find that a lot of people aren't aware of this, but it's about the stages of change within groups. What happens within groups, teams, organizations, families, relationships, you name it. When we're going through change, it's very important for you to understand that I'm going to talk about 4 stages, and not everybody is in the same place at the same time. And the key to this is not necessarily for you to assess where everybody else is, but for you to be able to understand where you are in the change process. It's so easy when times are uncomfortable and we're experiencing discomfort to turn our attention onto how everybody else is doing. Where's everybody else at? I'm going to encourage you to utilize this time to think about where in your life or your work is there a change happening, and where are you in the change process? So you ready? Here we go. Stage 1 is denial. If it isn't broken, don't fix it. This is when excuses circulate, ideas are shot down without listening. People make statements like, nobody else is going to like this. Everybody's going to be upset. And there's denial of problems, even when there's evidence to the contrary. There's nothing wrong here. I don't understand what everybody's worked up about. And you feel resistant. I don't want to hear one more word about this. I'm not learning that new database. I'm not working for that new guy. I don't care. Make sure you don't make me report to him, right? These are the stages. This is the beginning stage. It's the denial stage. It's the, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Okay? Stage 2 is the emotional stage. This is a stage, we know we're in stage 2 when we spend all of our time blaming and finding fault. When attention and focus goes to all the problems that are happening within the change. And not in terms of, change is uncomfortable, change is difficult. Of course, there's going to be some bumps. What can we learn from them? It's more in this'll never work phase, identifying the problems. Productivity, morale, and excellence of craft, how well you do your work, goes down the tubes during this stage. I'm working with one organization that's going through, oh my God, so much change in upheaval. And for several months, people just were not doing great work. They weren't. And part of it was because they were in this change place. More time is spent worrying about the change than strategizing how to fix it, right? That sound familiar? And people meet covertly to come up with ways to stop the change. Oh, this went on with an organization I was involved in. People were meeting at coffee shops. They were meeting here and there. You kept hearing of all these secret little meetings by the people who are stuck in stage 2, right? Clearly stuck in stage 2. The rumor mill gets out of control. Fight or flight response is triggered, and some people go into attack mode. We're going to get rid of that new director. I don't care what happens. I'm going to file complaints about this. Or they resign, or they leave. Or the worst one is they sabotage things to the point where they're asked to leave. What you frequently hear in this stage is people saying things like, I told you this was never going to work. I told you this would happen. And my all-time favorite, I don't think I've ever heard anybody use these words, but you definitely know when people are using variations. The future is dim. The organization's never going to survive. We'll never get through this, right? Those kinds of comments. Stage 2, emotional. Do you know anybody who's in stage 2? Are you in stage 2? So now we get to stage 3. I'm having a hard time figuring out where to put these, but I think I'm doing okay. Stage 3 is acceptance. Okay, and that's when the problem-solving mindset comes into play. Like, oh yeah, this is uncomfortable. This is tough. This is scary, but let's problem solve our way out of it. Pessimism becomes moments of optimism. So you hear the person who is in stage 2, and you notice suddenly they're coming to meetings with thoughts and ideas, strategies. They're beginning to see that they are empowered to find their way out of this. Staff begins to take ownership of the change, and suddenly the leader doesn't feel like they're having to do all the heavy lifting. And some people go with the worst is behind us mindset. Phew, we made it through that. Wow, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I love when I hear people say that. And that's why it's very important to do reflection work. Oh, look how far we've come. Look what we've achieved. What are you noticing that's different than it was 6 months ago or 3 months ago or yesterday? The thing that's important to know is stage 3 is not too far removed from stage 2. And so when tough times get tough, when challenges feel insurmountable, or when a lot of stage 2 people are trying to yank the stage 3 people back to stage 2, there's setbacks. It's easy for people to go back there. Super easy. So stage 3 is the beginning of moving to a really productive place. Then we get to stage 4, which I love. That's when there's renewed morale and productivity. Oh my gosh. People are taking pride in their work, and you're starting to see teamwork happening. People are strengthened through the pride of overcoming the discomfort and the experience of shared perseverance. What a tough year last year was, but we made it through. We came up with solutions. We stuck together. We worked really hard. And it's important. That's why it's so important as a leader, or even as the leader of yourself, to do what I call postmortems on challenges. How did we get through that? What tools did we use? What can we apply next time? How can we make things better moving forward? People celebrate and accept that we live in a world of constant change. Constant change. And if you are someone who's been to my Navigating Challenging Dialogue workshop, what you know is we were born to be facilitators of change, right? Breathe in oxygen, exhale carbon dioxide. It's the first thing you did when you were living on your own. Very powerful. You are creating change every single day. The lessons that have been learned from past experiences are applied to new challenges. One of the methodologies that I use in the Navigating Challenging Dialogue workshop and in the leadership certification for Navigating Challenging Dialogue is the experiential learning cycle, right? So something happens, we make some trial attempts, we evaluate how we did, we debrief it, we talk about it, we pull the key learnings out, and then we transfer them, and we use them in future activities. So this is it. This is the long and short of it. It's the change management stages. And I love them. I think it's so helpful. It's helpful for you to know where you're at. It's helpful for people in your staff to be able to identify where they're at. I did this activity with a group that was really struggling. I did it as an activity where we talked about it and we moved around from place to place. And one person who really had been a burden to forward progress for an incredibly long time realized that they were stuck in stage 1 and they were super happy to be there. They had no desire to move forward and move out of there, so you know what they did? They resigned. Yeah. And it was a relief to everybody. It wasn't a situation where somebody was going to be able to be terminated without a lot of work. And so they saw it themselves and they resigned and moved forward. It's been great. So I encourage you to think about this. If you would like to get a copy of these, then go ahead and send an email to support@bethwonson.com and we'll get you your own set. And you can print them out like I've done, laminate them. One of my executive coaching clients has them set up in her office so she can talk to people about where they are in the change process. All right, thanks. Again, this is a little bit of Beth. I look forward to connecting with you soon.